I'm Jason Herbert. I'm a Southerner, but I live in Colorado. I'm a historian, I'm an outdoorsman, and I'm a movie buff. I hunt and I fish, I kayak and I climb mountains. I like to explore old places and ask new questions. I'm curious about the world. And this is a reckoning.
Where to begin? I think the first thing I should probably tell you is that none of what you're about to hear has been endorsed by my employer, the United States federal government. It does not represent their viewpoints or anything like that. It does not represent the view of the Comanche Nation, only of me. So I wanted to share with you a little bit about maybe one of the best and most wonderful weekends I've had in the longest time. We'll just kind of go from there. This is not scripted. This is something that I thought maybe would be good coming from my heart and explain to y'all about maybe what it is that I've been doing, and kind of go from there. So where do we begin? All right, let's start here. Over the last 3 or 4 days, I've spent the most amazing time camping with tribal members, youths, and elders from the Comanche Nation who largely live in Oklahoma. Now, I say largely that because it's important for y'all to know tribal people don't just live on reservations, and in Oklahoma, they don't just live on allotments. They live in cities and towns, and they're everywhere else. Y'all probably know that, but it seems to be misunderstood sometimes. And I think it's important to know that Native folks are everywhere. You're surrounded, if you will, and that's a good thing. So my job, reason why I'm out here in Colorado, as a lot of y'all know, is that I work with tribes for the government, for the Forest Service, and it's a job I take very seriously. There was a time along the way when I thought I was going to become a professor of history. I was hot shit coming out of Wichita State University, and I had a chip on my shoulder. And I got into the very best Indigenous history program I possibly could, the University of Minnesota. It was an interesting time, and I hope if I can remember so, I'll circle back to some thoughts I've had on that. But I went to Minnesota thinking, hey, this is where people come to. This is the factory for people who do Native American history. And I thought certainly I'd be able to land a job no matter what happened with this job market. I'd be able to land a job doing something in Native history. And I chose Minnesota over a couple other amazing programs. I had gotten down to University of Oklahoma and Florida State, both amazing programs. Chose Minnesota for a lot of different reasons. That's not neither here nor there. For whatever reason, it didn't work out. I didn't become a professor. Now, I taught high school while I was writing my dissertation. And I worked for 3 years for the Seminole Tribe of Florida and met some amazing people there as I was writing that dissertation. And when that job ended, I did some contract work and things like that. And eventually, this position opened up here in Colorado. Now, I think a lot of y'all know I had gone through a breakup before then. I was kind of in a mood. And maybe needed to see some different areas. I wanted to stay in Florida. My kids are in Florida. I love Florida. Florida's home to me, even though I'm from Kentucky and Louisiana. I love Disney too much. Love my oceans. Love the turtles. But I needed to go somewhere else. And one of my mentors, Andrew Frank, one of the kindest, most wonderful human beings you'll ever meet in academia, had told me, he was like, you need to go west and be at peace. And I said, okay, I guess I'll just do that. So I did that. And I take it seriously. Moving out to Colorado was a big deal. My children are in Florida. They're in Tampa. It's 2,000 miles away. And I remember I was kind of in this weird position. It was like, do I stay in Florida and take this like a lower paying non-tenure track position, or do I go for it, come out here? And one of the things that I learned working for the Seminole Tribe of Florida was how much I loved working with elders, how much I loved working with Native folks. It didn't matter to a lot of folks. I can't speak for everybody, obviously, that I wasn't Seminole or wasn't even tribal. I think a lot of folks understood that I had a good heart, loved people, wanted to do my best by the tribe. And I took a lot of pride in working for that tribe, and still love folks over there very, very much. If you're listening down in Florida, I hope you know how much I love you. I miss y'all so much. Especially up on Brighton. Dad, if you're out there, there's this guy's name. Everybody says call him Dad, but he's just this great guy. I just love him to death. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked as I'm wont to do. But it was a big deal. And I remember talking to my boss, the guy who became a boss. And this is a guy, and I'm not saying this because he does listen to this podcast, but I really, really like him. He and I get on real well. He's only a little bit older than me, but he's wealth information, and he's got a great heart, and really wanted to do right and really kind of get this tribal program going out here. But, frankly, a lot of folks, when they work with tribes or envision working with tribes, they don't know where to start. The way I always say it is like to many non-tribal folks, like going to reservations, like going to the moon. There's this weird thing that happens. Like, I don't want to go out there. I'm so like, what if I go to a powwow? Am I allowed to buy the things? Whatever. Like, yeah, absolutely. Right. But I remember talking to him, and, I was really hesitant. I was like, look, man, don't bring me out here. Don't bring me 2,000 miles from home to check a box. If I'm coming out to Colorado, I really want to work with Native folk. And I really meant that, like really develop relationships with folks, see how I could be of service to them. And I think that's the thing where my career is at now, is what drives me every single day is this idea of being of service to people of who are not me. Right. And of course, I love my folks back in Kentucky in the South and things like that. But I love the idea of not being part of this indigenous community that I'm a white guy from the South, but giving back to these communities in whatever way I can. It's like, I'm not going to save or anything like that. I'm just a guy who can talk and knows a little history, so forth. But like, these are my talents, and I can apply these talents to the betterment of these communities who are resilient, but have some ways suffered in a lot of different ways. Right. So what can I do for them? All right. So it's like, hey, what do you want me to do? He's like, well, we were hoping you could tell us. I was like, okay. I don't know what to do either, but all right. And I get out here like a week later, and I cried so bad the first night when I got her from Colorado. I was like, what the hell did I just do? And first question I ask is like, what tribes are we working with? And he's like, we don't know. It's like, okay. All right. So we don't know what tribes we're working with. We're out here in Colorado, and there's nearly 50 tribes with ties to different parts of Colorado. It's a lot of tribes, it's frontier land in a lot of ways for a lot of different tribes, even before like European, Spanish, and English and everybody else start showing up, Americans. So, all right. So how do we get this going? So we long story short, you guys have been following along. I got this program up and going here the last couple of years. Last December, I had the great opportunity to go out to Oklahoma. And when I was out there, the whole point was just to go out there and be present in that community. I got a chance to visit with 4 different tribes, the Comanche Nation, Kiowa Tribe, the Cheyenne and Arapaho Tribes, and the Pawnee Nation. Technically, I guess that makes it 5 tribes, but CNA kind of works as one in some ways. And amazing folks all the way around. I've just so welcomed by everybody out there. Comanche, Kiowa, Cheyenne, Arapaho, Pawnee, man, people just welcome me into to their community, show me around, drive around, show me the bison, show me the area, show me the neighborhoods, things, show me the museums. Just amazing. But when I was out there with Comanche, I had a chance to meet up with their council and talk to some folks out there. And I was talking to an elder, and he's like, it'd be really great if we could get some of these folks, some of these young kids to understand that we are beyond Oklahoma, right? And this was echoed by the other tribes as well, because there's this thought that like because those tribes are kind of centered in Oklahoma now, that's like where the homelands are. But like if you're Kiowa, you come from far, far away. Kiowas come from up in like Wyoming and even farther north. It was an amazing tribe, amazing folks. My friend Amanda over there has taught me so much; I just love her to death. Same with Comanche, right? Comanche, you go far enough back, trace the ancestry. It's Ute Aztecan dialect, goes way back, right? But the super short history is Comanche were Shoshone at one point in time. You get horses and kind of break away and kind of come down on the plains and become like the lords of the Southern Plains. And really one of the great horse tribes ever, if not the greatest. I don't want to get myself in trouble. But definitely in that conversation, right? So, talking to him was like, well, I can do that. Right. So for the last several months, I've been working with their TIPO director. TIPO means Tribal Historic Preservation Officer. Right. And we've been trying to put up together a youth camping, session where the kids would come out and camp out in Colorado and see a little bit of their homeland. Now, Comanche, which would be called the historic range of the Comanche people, extends far beyond, say, Oklahoma into parts of Kansas and Texas and New Mexico, parts of Colorado, Wyoming, other places as well. Really massive coverage of land, right, and so forth. And like every other tribe out here, they lived in contested spaces, Comanche contested spaces with Osage or Kiowa or Ute or anybody else like that, so forth, right? Apache, certainly, Mexico, United States, right? And so forth. But like I live in Colorado, so here I can show these kids parts of Colorado. So we worked it out and we just finished it up. And folks, what I want to tell you is that I haven't cried this hard in the longest time. And this is a good thing. So I want to share with you a little bit of what we did over the weekend. So we had 50 Comanche campers come out. We were gonna camp out this place down in southern Colorado on San Isabel National Forest. Beautiful area, and everything that could go wrong did go wrong on this trip. They were going to arrive at 5:30. They had some vehicular issues. They weren't able to get in until closer to 11. I had these dreams about putting these of helping put up teepees on the side of a mountain and bonfires and being illuminated by the stars and watching these kids sing these songs. And it was going to be spectacular. We got out there and my colleagues and I prepped out that area. I brought my dog. It was going to be great. And then all plans were shot to hell. The tribe ended up having to bring a bunch of tents instead of teepees and whatnot. And the kids, God bless them, man. These are high school kids, and they just rolled with everything. They were so amazing. Anyway, long story. What we didn't account for was the wind. Wind was blowing like 60, 70 miles an hour up on the mountain, which I'd never even thought, because every time I've been up on the side of the mountain, I've been calm as anything. So tents were ripped up. It was just awful, but these kids were amazing. We got up the next day. We made them some breakfast. I took them on a short hike. And of course I'm talking to these kids and they're just amazing when they love Buster, my dog. And I'm talking to them a little bit about Comanche history, what I know about it. Now I'm no specialist in Comanche history. And frankly, whenever I work with these tribes, I don't put out the fact that I got everybody knows I got a PhD, but it's like, I don't show up and like, hey, I know all these things about your tribe. That's stupid. You don't do that, right? In fact, one of the things I love about being out here is I really always say, embrace your ignorance, because you don't really know what these folks have been doing, what they've gone through or anything like that. I know book stuff, right? And I can talk to them about history and such, but can I? But we spent all this amazing time. We hiked and we laughed and we cooked food, and the kids were just amazing. We ended up going up and did a bunch of other stuff. We got up the next day. A couple days later, went up to this place called Garden of the Gods near Colorado Springs. Real beautiful place. It's important to them. It's important to a lot of tribes. And then we went up on top of Pikes Peak, which is this huge mountain, 14,000 feet tall. You can drive all the way to the top of it, right? And these places are important to Comanches. Now, they're not only Comanche. So when I say these are important to Comanche, these spaces are important to lots of other tribes like Utes or Kiowa, Cheyenne, Arapaho, Hickory, Apache, Pawnee, so forth. Right? A lot of folks, and so forth. But we're focusing on these young people, right? And the idea behind this is just what we wanted to do is get some ownership of places beyond Oklahoma, because these are teenagers, right? And I remember looking around, as these kids were playing one night and they're talking and maybe singing some songs. I remember having this thought. I was talking to a friend of mine, Jen, and I was like, these are elders. These are going to be elders one day. Somewhere in this group of 50 young folk is the next chairman one day. Pardon me. It's we're seeing them right before they blossom, right? We're seeing this moment, right? And so forth. But that's what's important, and we talk about in a lot of ways, reintroducing species out here, reintroducing a wolf or a moose or a wolverine or an otter, or you name it, or a plant or whatever, right? And all of these things are really, really, really important. But the thing I've really worked on since I've been out here has been reintroducing people to these spaces. Now, and I mean that by trying to do my best to make sure that these places are as available to the communities that I work with as I possibly can. And in this case, it meant putting together this tribal youth encampment, right? Get these kids up on the mountain. A lot of these coast, some of these kids have been out to Colorado before. Some of them had. A lot of them hadn't. So what does a mountain look like if you're from Oklahoma, right? It gets cold at night, down 50, 40s and 50s at night. What does the plant life look like? What do the animals look like? Where are the bears? Where are the mountain lion? Where are the bighorn sheep? Where are the elk? Animals out here that you don't have down in, say, Lawton, Oklahoma. So where's the marmot? If you guys don't know what a marmot is, they're just great. I love them. And this was really, really important to me. And I think for me, the thing that I kept thinking about was just, the importance of the work that we're doing out here. There's been a lot of times when I think about my job, my career, about not becoming a professor for whatever reason. And maybe that's a conversation on the table for another day, but I'm good at this. I'm really good at this. I'm good with working with tribes and just anybody, pulling people together. That's the reason why this podcast has been so successful. The reason why the whole HATM community has done so well. And I apologize that I haven't been there as much for HATM. This has been the thing I've been doing. This has been the part that I've really been focusing on. I felt like I was out here. And, I want to share with you guys, a year ago in August, we had a bunch of tribal members up on a mountain. And one of the tribal members, actually a Comanche man named Lloyd Jimenez, really terrific guy, pulled me up in front of everybody and said, Creator had put me out here to take care of these places for these tribes. And it's something that I have thought about, I think, every single day since I've been out here. I need a purpose, right? And for me, that's what this job has become, is this purpose. It's tough out here. I'm so far away from my kids. Well, I don't want to talk about this other thing, but there's this other thing. And it's tough. I feel alone a lot of times, but I love the work. And maybe I'll be a professor one day. I still love history. Okay. Don't get me wrong. I still have a desire to teach, but I kind of have come to think about my job as in almost spiritual terms. I'm not religious anymore. I grew up Southern Baptist, but I like to think that maybe there is a creator. Maybe there's a reason why I'm out here. And, these are always terms that I think when I was a graduate student, or early career scholar, things like that, I was really wrestling with these ideas of being a white guy, teaching Native history or writing Native history and things like that, and thinking about the politics of it. And, I just come to see all that as bullshit, right? Because ultimately, frankly, as Dan Flores likes to say, we're telling human stories, and I really come to believe that. But ultimately, I want to be of service to communities, and I really love not just Comanche Nation, but all of these tribes that I work with, whether it's Southern Ute or Ute Mountain Ute or Northern Cheyenne or Northern Arapaho or any of the number of tribes you've heard me talk about today. And I don't think that you can do this job without giving your full heart to it. If it doesn't come out of my pore, if y'all don't see me talking, and I was talking about this the other day. I had a crisis conscious, and I was kind of talking to this just the most amazing human being I know. And I was telling her that, and I was like, it just feels so performative. And God bless her. She was like, no. She's like, your heart's in the right place. I can sense it. And I like to think she was right. She's usually right when I talk to her. So, anyway, so we were up on top of the mountain. And I get all these kids together, and we got 50 kids, and we've got elders and some people of my age. Typically, the elders are in their 60s or 70s. So a lot of different folks, some adults and stuff like that too. Anyway, long story. We get we get a group picture up on top of the mountain. And I swear I was not expecting this to happen. I don't know what happened or why it happened. But we kind of finished that group picture, and I stepped aside, and I'm watching these kids. We're all kind of walking to where an area we're going to have a group prayer. And I started crying. I could not stop crying. I had to put my sunglasses on. I wasn't crying. I was weeping. I was openly I was overcome. And I don't know if it was just a moment. Maybe it was Creator speaking to me about the importance of the job. All I can tell you guys is that in that moment, I felt so much love for these young folk and the nation in general and the people that I work with, right? They were emotions that were difficult for me to process. And I just stood there and cried. And the whole time they were praying and offering prayers. And I've been through many prayer services, and I'm always honored to be part of them. I brought tobacco to offer. I just cried. I just stood there and cried my freaking guts out. I love seeing these people. I love the idea of being this little part in their heart, right? And I'm going to share with you all a little bit. Maybe I shouldn't. I hope it's okay. Sometimes when you work with tribes, tribal members give you what's called an Indian name. And things like that. And I've got a couple. I've got 3 from 3 different tribes, which mean the world to me. And it's not like you're native. It's not like your tribe's adopted you, but it's a sign of affection. But I got another one this weekend, Ata Jason, which means Uncle Jason. And I love it, man, because I love the idea that these kids, and it was the kids who started calling me that. It was like, is this a sign of affection? I got to tell you about it. I just love these kids. And my heart has been so full. They came down, we had this amazing, I got the worst sunburn. If you could see my face right now, it's like it's gross. I mean, it's grosser than usual. This is not a pretty face to begin with. But, I'm covered, sunburn's bad, so forth. But then this morning, the tribe who was up in the Colorado Springs, I'm down in Pueblo, and they drove down to say goodbye one more time. I'd gotten all the hugs and goodbyes and so forth yesterday. And then I guess my office is on the way back down to Comanche country. It is, right? And so they stopped off one more time just to say, hey, I showed them around the Forest Service a little bit and whatnot. But they sang to me. And they gave me a little present, and it was really nice. And I got an Uno deck. It's called Sama in Comanche, so I can practice my language. I'm working on. I'll never be able to speak language Comanche probably, but I'm working on at least learn some words and some phrases, much like I am in Ute, and so forth. But to see these kids again one more time, they left, and I cried again. It's so hard for me to be out here in Colorado sometimes, and I get down on myself and miss my kids. I feel like I've abandoned my children so many times. There are times when I feel lonely out here. There is somebody I'm absolutely crazy about, but I don't know if that'll happen or not. I hope it does, right? But for me, pouring myself into the work out here has become the mission, has become why I do what I do. So when I post about working with tribes or things like that, I promise you it's not some kind of self-promoting thing. I want folks to know that you can do good work with tribes. I want folks to know that tribes are still here, that they're amazing folks. You should go to the museums. You should eat the food. You should buy the things, and so forth, right? You should take pride in that. These are your neighbors and community members, and wonderful. And I'm hoping to do a bigger event next year, maybe with a bunch of tribes all together. I don't know. I don't know if we just had 50 kids. I don't know if we can do like 250, but I like things that are hard. I don't know. I guess what I was trying to tell you guys right now as I'm thinking about it, and it's 6:24 p.m. right now, I still have to unpack. The house looks like hell. Is just how much I love these tribes. Not just Comanche, but the rest of the folks that I've had a chance. And y'all have seen me talk about going to bear dance or visiting with this tribe or that tribe, things like that. I am overwhelmed with gratitude for the folks out here who have welcomed me in. Welcoming to me to the reservations or the allotments and their communities and things. I am working my tail off out here. That's it. I'll keep sharing some pictures on social media over the next little while as they come about and so forth. I want to tell you guys that this could not have happened without my colleagues where I work. This is not endorsed by them whatsoever. I'm just kind of sharing some feelings towards work, I guess. This is not a government message or anything like that. Yeah. So anyway, I hope that y'all get a chance. If you check out Comanche Nation, you can go to their website and so forth, read some good books. I mean, there's no perfect book, but I really like Brian DeLay's War of a Thousand Deserts, really good book. Comanche Empire by Pekka Hamalainen is really good. I like that one a lot. Read yourself some David J. Weber. He's really amazing. Spanish Frontier, North America is really good. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there. Or heck, go read your Dan Flores as well, right? He writes about environmental history on the plains. So if you want to learn about the plains and so forth like that, go read American Serengeti or Wild New World or Coyote America or God knows whatever else he's written. So, or read his wife Sarah Dan's book. Sarah's amazing too. God, I feel like I'm a fanboy sometimes. Whatever. I'm rambling now, guys. I haven't been posting as much, and that's because I've been focusing so much on the job. Because I felt like this has been my calling recently. This is where I've been needed to be, and I apologize for that because I know that a lot of y'all really take a lot of pride in HATM and Reckoning and this podcast and our relationships, and I'm going to try to do better. I really am. I'm sorry that I've been neglecting y'all. I needed to be there for these kids. So anyway, look, if you're out there, I don't have any great advice or anything like that. I just want you to know that you could do good work for tribes, that this stuff does matter. It matters to me. I love these kids. I love these tribes. I love these folks. It means the world to me to see them. And it was a little bit of my weekend. So there you go. Check out those books I recommended to you. Check out websites. And if you're looking about indigenous history or anything like that, wherever you live is native land, right? So whether you live in Connecticut or California or anything like that, there are tribal lands there. There are tribes who have claims to those lands. Go learn about them, right? Go stop in at their museums, go eat at the restaurants, so forth, right? You are welcome there. I promise you that. I have never felt so welcome as I do when I'm on a reservation. For me, it is a place of renewal and love. So, anyway, if you're out there and you listen in and you work with and you're any one of the tribes that I've had the great liberty to work with, just know that I love you. Ata Jason says, hey, I miss y'all when I don't see you. I'm always thinking about you every day I get up. I try to do my best for you. Every single day. My heart is 100% with y'all. I just love y'all. I'm trying not to cry right now. That's it. I hope y'all having a great day. We got more podcasts coming for you. We got a great one coming on Black Hawk Down soon. If you're listening to this podcast this coming Sunday, we're going to be doing Prey, the Predator film about Comanche folks, starting Amber Mid-Thunder. She's amazing. We'll be doing that on Blue Sky this Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. So stay tuned for that. You can find that film on Hulu, Disney Plus, so forth. So, or you can buy it, I think, on Apple. So, love y'all to death too. This community does not exist without y'all. HATM and now this podcast has been going for 8 years. 8 years next month, and that means the world to me. You guys mean the world to me. So thank you so much for being part of this, and we'll keep rocking. So love y'all to death. Talk to you later. Bye.